What if I told you that one quiet boy, growing up thousands of miles away from Silicon Valley, would one day build electric cars that changed the automotive industry, launch reusable rockets into space, connect the world with satellites, and become one of the richest and most influential entrepreneurs in history? It sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie. But every part of this story is real. Before the billions. Before Tesla. Before SpaceX. Before the headlines and global fame. There was just a young boy with an imagination far bigger than the world around him. Elon Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. Unlike most children his age, Elon wasn't interested in fitting in. He was quiet, deeply curious, and spent countless hours reading books. Science fiction, physics, engineering, and computer magazines became his escape from reality. While others saw stories, Elon saw possibilities. He often imagined a future where humans could travel between planets, artificial intelligence could transform civilization, and technology could solve problems that seemed impossible. These weren't just childhood fantasies, they were the first building blocks of a vision that would eventually reshape multiple industries. At the age of just 12, Elon taught himself computer programming. Without expensive teachers or formal training, he spent endless hours writing code, making mistakes, learning from them, and trying again. That determination led him to create his very first computer game, called Blaster. Soon after, he sold the game for around $500. It wasn't life-changing money, but it proved something much more important. It showed him that an idea created inside someone's mind could become something valuable in the real world. As Elon grew older, he realized that achieving his biggest dreams would require leaving everything familiar behind. At just 17 years old, carrying only a backpack, a suitcase, and enormous ambition, he left South Africa to begin a completely new life in North America. His journey started in Canada, where life was far from easy. He worked hard, adapted to a new country, and faced uncertainty almost every day. But every challenge made him stronger. Every setback taught him another lesson about resilience. While studying at Queen's University, Elon became obsessed with understanding how technology, business, and engineering could shape the future. His notebooks filled with business ideas, rocket concepts, and long-term visions that sounded impossible to almost everyone around him. Later, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania, where he studied both economics and physics. While many students focused on finding safe careers, Elon was already thinking decades ahead. He believed three industries would define the future of humanity: the internet, sustainable energy, and space exploration. Most people would have chosen a secure, well-paying job after graduation. Elon chose uncertainty instead. He packed his belongings and moved to Silicon Valley, the center of technological innovation. He had very little money, no powerful connections, and absolutely no guarantee of success. But he carried something far more valuable: a dream so big that failure simply wasn't an option. That single decision would begin one of the most extraordinary entrepreneurial journeys the world has ever witnessed. And this was only the beginning. Silicon Valley in the mid-1990s was unlike any other place on Earth. The internet was still in its infancy, but a few visionaries believed it would completely transform the world. Elon Musk was one of them. With his younger brother Kimball, Elon rented a tiny office and started a company called Zip2. Money was so tight that they couldn't even afford an apartment. They slept on the office floor, showered at a local gym, and worked nearly every waking hour. During the day, they pitched their idea to investors. At night, Elon wrote code until sunrise. Life was exhausting. Many investors rejected them. Some believed the internet was just a passing trend. Others laughed at two young brothers trying to compete with established companies. But Elon refused to quit. Every rejection only made him more determined. Slowly, things began to change. Newspapers and businesses realized they needed digital maps and online business directories. Zip2 started gaining customers, and the company grew faster than anyone expected. Years of sacrifice were finally paying off. In 1999, one moment changed Elon's life forever. Computer giant Compaq bought Zip2 for more than $300 million. Elon personally earned over $22 million. At just 27 years old, he had enough money to retire comfortably. Most people would have stopped there. They would have bought a luxury house, expensive cars, and enjoyed a stress-free life. But Elon wasn't interested in comfort. For him, money was never the final goal. It was simply fuel for much bigger dreams. Instead of slowing down, he invested almost everything into a new company called X.com. His vision was bold: to completely reinvent banking by moving financial services onto the internet. At the time, many people thought online banking sounded dangerous and unrealistic. Competition was fierce, but after merging with another startup, X.com evolved into what the world now knows as PayPal. Millions of people began using it to send and receive money online, helping redefine digital payments forever. Then came another historic milestone. In 2002, eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion. Elon received roughly $180 million from the deal. Once again, he had enough wealth to live comfortably for the rest of his life. But instead of protecting his fortune, Elon made a decision that shocked almost everyone around him. He invested nearly all of his money into three incredibly risky ideas: building reusable rockets with SpaceX, transforming transportation with Tesla, and later pursuing other ambitious technologies. Friends warned him he could lose everything. Investors called him reckless. Many believed he was making the biggest mistake of his life. What nobody realized was that this wasn't the end of Elon's journey. In many ways, it was only the beginning of his greatest challenge. The next chapter would test not only his intelligence but also his courage, resilience, and willingness to risk absolutely everything for a dream that, by 2002, Elon Musk had already achieved what most entrepreneurs spend a lifetime chasing. He had made hundreds of millions of dollars and could have retired before the age of 35. But Elon wasn't interested in a comfortable life. He believed the biggest problems facing humanity still needed solutions, and he was willing to risk everything to solve them. Instead of protecting his fortune, he poured nearly all of his PayPal earnings into three bold companies: SpaceX, Tesla, and SolarCity. Friends, investors, and even family members thought he had lost his mind. Starting one high-risk company was difficult enough. Starting three at the same time seemed almost impossible. Among those dreams, one stood out above all the others. Elon wanted to make humanity a multi-planetary species. His goal was simple in words but nearly impossible in reality: to build affordable, reusable rockets that could one day carry people to Mars. To make that vision possible, Elon traveled around the world searching for rockets he could buy. But every quote he received was shockingly expensive. The prices were so high that the mission seemed impossible before it had even begun. Instead of giving up, Elon made a decision that changed history. He gathered engineering textbooks, studied rocket science from the ground up, and asked a simple question: why not build the rocket ourselves? It sounded crazy, but he believed first principles thinking could achieve what traditional methods could not. In 2002, SpaceX was officially born. The company started inside a modest warehouse with a small team of passionate engineers who shared one impossible dream. They worked day and night designing engines, testing components, and solving problems that had defeated aerospace companies for decades. Money disappeared faster than anyone expected. Every rocket test cost millions of dollars. Every mistake meant months of additional work. After surviving years of failures, Elon Musk was no longer focused on proving his critics wrong. His attention had shifted to something much bigger: building technologies that could change the future of civilization. Tesla was expanding at an incredible pace. Gigafactories began rising across the world. producing millions of electric vehicles and advanced batteries. What many people once dismissed as an impossible dream was becoming a global movement toward sustainable energy. But Elon wasn't satisfied with transforming transportation alone. In 2023, he launched xAI, believing artificial intelligence would become one of the most powerful technologies in human history. His goal wasn't simply to build smarter computers, but to develop AI that could help humanity understand the universe while remaining safe and beneficial. At the same time, SpaceX continued pushing the boundaries of space exploration. At Starbase in Texas, engineers worked round the clock on Starship, the largest and most powerful rocket ever built. Unlike anything before it, Starship was designed to be fully reusable, making missions to the Moon and Mars far more affordable than ever imagined. Each launch, every engine test, and every improvement brought humanity one step closer to becoming a multiplanetary civilization. For Elon, Mars wasn't science fiction, it was the next destination. Meanwhile, thousands of Starlink satellites surrounded Earth, creating a global internet network capable of reaching even the most remote places on the planet. Communities that had never experienced reliable internet were suddenly connected to education, healthcare, and opportunity. As SpaceX, Tesla, Starlink, xAI, and X continued to grow, Elon Musk's companies formed one of the most influential technology ecosystems in the world. Together, they were shaping industries ranging from transportation and energy to communications, artificial intelligence, and space exploration. Yet despite the success, Elon often reminded people that wealth had never been his ultimate goal. Money, in his view, was simply a tool, a resource to fund bigger ideas and solve problems that could benefit humanity for generations. Looking toward the future, his vision became even more ambitious. He imagined self-sustaining cities on Mars, artificial intelligence working alongside humans, autonomous robots performing dangerous tasks, and reusable spacecraft making travel between planets as routine as flying across continents today. The quiet boy who once spent his nights reading science fiction had transformed many of those stories into reality. But perhaps the most remarkable part of Elon Musk's journey is that he still believes humanity's greatest achievements are not behind us, they are still waiting in the future. Today, Elon Musk's companies influence billions of people around the world every single day. Tesla is accelerating the transition to sustainable energy. SpaceX is redefining space exploration. Starlink is connecting remote communities across the globe. And xAI is exploring the next frontier of artificial intelligence. What makes this journey remarkable isn't just the companies he built, he challenged industries that many believed could never change. Again and again, Elon chose the hardest path. Even when failure seemed almost certain, his biggest dream has always remained the same: ensuring the long-term survival of humanity. He believes that one day, humans won't just visit Mars, they'll live there. Entire cities could rise on the red planet, powered by clean energy, connected by advanced technology, and built by generations willing to dream beyond Earth. At SpaceX, engineers continue testing Starship, the rocket designed to carry astronauts, equipment, and supplies across millions of kilometers of space. Every successful test brings humanity one step closer to making interplanetary travel a reality. Back on Earth, Tesla continues pushing the boundaries of electric vehicles, battery technology, robotics, and artificial intelligence. Optimus humanoid robots, autonomous driving systems, and next-generation energy storage could reshape everyday life in ways we are only beginning to imagine. Meanwhile, Starlink keeps expanding, connecting people in places where high-speed internet once seemed impossible. Millions of families, students, and businesses now have access to opportunities that simply didn't exist before. Whether you admire Elon Musk or disagree with some of his decisions, one fact is difficult to ignore: few individuals have changed so many industries within a single lifetime. His story proves that extraordinary progress often begins with ideas that sound impossible. From a quiet boy reading science fiction books in South Africa, to building rockets, electric vehicles, satellites, and artificial intelligence. Elon Musk's journey is a reminder that the future is created by people who refuse to stop asking, what if? And perhaps the most exciting chapter hasn't happened yet. Somewhere inside a SpaceX factory,